Welcome back, lore lovers, to Liandrug. Today, we continue our tragic tale of Konrad Curze, the Night Hunter, as we explore his life after the heresy. Once a Primarch of the Emperor's most feared legion, his journey through the darkness of war and his eventual downfall is a story that shakes the very foundations of the Warhammer 40k universe. Let's step into the shadows once again. By the end of the Great Crusade, the Night Lords walked a road to destruction, a fate inscribed in the distant halls of Terra and sealed among the dying stars of the Eastern Fringe. But they would not go quietly. As the galaxy burned in the Horus Heresy, the first signs of their doom took shape. The Night Hunter's curse weighed heavy, his sons staring at each other in blood-frenzied desperation, seeking an enemy to blame for their plight. Yet the corruption they hunted had never been foreign. It had festered at their core since the beginning, woven into their very purpose by the Emperor's design. Once, Curze had fought against this fate, believing that through violence he could alter destiny. But even as Horus shattered the Imperium's future, Curze's own vision remained unchanged. The bloodshed had been meaningless, the struggle had been futile, and that realization inflicted a wound deeper than any blade. By the Primarchs' crusade, the Night Hunter no longer fought against his doom, he welcomed it. When Horus's war engulfed the stars, the Night Lords followed without hesitation. They had long stood on the fringes of imperial favor, and few questioned their allegiance when they answered the War Master's call. But when the Dropsite massacre revealed their treachery, it became clear. They had not merely turned traitor, they had become the very monsters they once punished. Freed from all restraint, the Night Lords waged war not for conquest, not for chaos, but for terror itself. They left entire sectors drowning in screams, their name whispered in fear long after the war had ended. Even as Horus fell and the Imperium stood victorious, the Night Lords did not retreat. In the Eastern Fringe, they continued their rampage, sowing horror in the wake of their broken dreams. Curze himself changed in these years. He no longer claimed to serve the Emperor, nor even Horus. He fought only for death and fear. His form twisted, his mind further shattered, until even his own sons whispered of the ruinous power's influence. Yet he did not seek godhood. Unlike his traitor kin, he would not bow to chaos. In time, the Emperor could no longer ignore his wayward son. The Night Hunter was summoned to answer for his crimes, but before he could face judgment, another fate found him first. Konrad Curze did not fall in battle, nor did he ascend to demonhood. Instead, he met his end as he always knew he would, at the hands of an assassin. On the fortress world of Tsagwalsa, where the Night Lords had made their dark home, the Emperor's executioner came for him. The Khalidus assassin Emshen struck the killing blow, and Curze did not resist. He had foreseen this moment long before, and in his death he saw vindication. He had always claimed that the Emperor's dream was a lie, that his own crimes were no different from those sanctioned in the Imperium's name, and now, by allowing his own execution, he proved his point. His father had become no better than him. Curze's last command was simple. His sons were not to avenge him, but in the end, they too disobeyed. His final victory was not in defiance, but in acceptance. His death did not end the Night Lords, nor did it redeem them. They continued their grim work, spreading fear across the stars, living as specters of his nightmare. For though they never truly soared to chaos, neither did they serve any greater cause. Like their Primarch before them, they lived and died for nothing but terror itself. When the Horus Heresy started, with news of the Isvan III atrocity, the Emperor sent 7 legions to crush Horus on Isvan V, unaware that 4 had already turned traitor. In secret, Lorgar and the Primarch of the Night Lords, Alpha Legion, and Iron Warriors pledged to overthrow the Imperium, seeing it as a failure built on lies. They would replace it with an empire of chaos. Sevatar of the Night Lords gave voice to their war cry, death to the false Emperor. Horus's forces entrenched themselves in the Urgal Depression, bracing for battle. Loyalist bombardments rained destruction, yet the traitors stood ready. Ferus Manus led the first wave, striking head-on with the Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard. Their former brothers met them with fire and steel. The battlefield became a slaughterhouse. Titans strode the ruins, war machines bled devastation, and warriors, once bound by oaths, tore each other apart. For hours, the battle raged in merciless carnage. Then, the second wave arrived, the Alpha Legion, Word Bearers, Night Lords, and Iron Warriors. Believing them to be reinforcements, the Loyalists retreated to regroup, but as they neared, the trap was sprung. A lone flare lit the sky, and the new arrivals turned their guns on their supposed allies. Bolters roared. Betrayal turned the battlefield into a charnel pit. The Loyalists were slaughtered, Ferus Manus fell, the Raven Guard and the Salamanders were shattered, and the dream of victory died in fire and blood. Isvan V became the grave of 3 legions. The great betrayal had begun. Before we dive deeper into the post-heresy turmoil of Konrad Curze, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Liandrug. Every like and subscribe helps this channel grow, and the more it grows, the more content I can create for you. Hit that bell so you're always on the loop for next video. Vulcan, survivor of the Iron Warriors' orbital strike, found himself surrounded by traitors from the Night Lords and the Iron Warriors. He fought bravely but was overwhelmed, beaten into unconsciousness. The Night Haunter, maddened and cruel, captured him. When Vulcan awoke, he was shackled aboard a prison ship, his body broken but unyielding. Curze took pleasure in tormenting him, trying to kill him again and again, only for Vulcan's body to regenerate each time. No matter what horrors Curze inflicted, beheadings, eviscerations, even being thrown into space, Vulcan returned to life. Frustrated, Curze sought to break Vulcan's mind, using sorcerers to trap him in illusions where he failed at noble tasks, causing innocent deaths, but Vulcan remained resolute. Eventually, Curze devised a final challenge, a labyrinth, with Vulcan's Warhammer, Dawnbringer, at its center. The maze was designed to trap anyone who entered, but Vulcan defied it. He found his weapon, defeated Curze, and activated a hidden teleporter. In an instant, Vulcan was transported across the galaxy, falling to Macragge. His body burned on re-entry, but Vulcan knew he would regenerate once again, finding solace in his eventual return to his ultramarine brothers. At the start of the heresy, the Night Lords were trusted by Horus, seen as a tool for sowing fear. After the Dropsite massacre, the Night Lords led the vanguard, spreading terror and forcing undecided worlds to choose sides. Those who bent the knee were spared, while those who resisted faced horrific punishments. Under Horus's command, the Night Lords quickly brought many star systems into the fold, but their brutality grew unchecked. Their cruelty, once a weapon for control, became an end in itself, causing more harm than good. As they ravaged the conquered worlds, the Night Lords' thirst for terror threatened Horus's plans. To prevent them from becoming a liability, Horus reassigned them to the Eastern Fringe, where they could continue to expand the traitor forces and strengthen their growing empire. In the dim stars of the Nostramo sector, Horus unleashed the Night Lords to reclaim their once dominant influence. Though the Night Haunter had vanished after the fall of Nostramo, his domain, encompassing nearly 100 star systems, was crucial for Horus's war efforts. The sector was a breeding ground for rebellion, with oppressed souls ready to take up arms against Terra. However, the Night Haunter's brutal rule had left these worlds in disarray, with gangs and syndicates rising in his absence. They had once feared him, but without him, chaos reigned. Horus thought the Night Haunter could restore order, but Konrad Curze, ever the perfectionist, rejected the syndicate's alliance, seeing them as an affront to his vision. Instead, he descended upon them in merciless retribution, slaughtering without hesitation. His return was marked by grim executions, as even the loyalists of his old regime felt his wrath. Despite Horus's grand rebellion, the Night Haunter's personal war for redemption led him to fight against the decay he saw within his own legion. His actions, however, were increasingly desperate as he sought to erase the corruption that plagued both the sector and his own warriors. The once disciplined Night Lords had deteriorated. The legion's new recruits, born in the corrupt regime of the Nostramo sector, lacked the commitment and structure that had once defined them. They now embraced violence for the sake of power rather than for justice. This degeneration weakened the legion's unity as the once feared Night Lords scattered into warbands, terrorizing the sector without purpose beyond bloodshed. The old veterans fought to restore order, but their efforts were overshadowed by the new zealots of the Legion. Konrad Curze, focused on his vision of doom, began listening to these new officers, even as the Legion's strength waned. As the Primarchs crusade began, Konrad Curze sought to sway his brother, Lionel Johnson, to Horus's cause. A parley between the two Primarchs quickly descended into violence. The Night Hunter's plans to mentally break the Lion backfired, and the confrontation ended with both Primarchs wounded. This was only the beginning of a brutal struggle that saw the Night Lord's fleet decimated by the Dark Angels. Though they fought back, the Night Lord's grip on the sector was slipping. After Horus's death and the failure of the Chaos forces, the Night Lords continued their assault on the Imperium. However, their tactics grew erratic and desperate. The Emperor sent assassins to end Konrad Curze's reign. It was on the world of Tsagwalsa that Shen, a Kalidus assassin, confronted the dying Primarch. Konrad Curze, now a broken monster, accepted his fate. Before his death, he revealed a haunting truth. His violent actions had been in vain. His visions had come to pass. His last words, recorded in the assassin's video log, remain one of the greatest enigmas in Imperial history. Whether he allowed himself to die or fought the assassin remains unclear, but it is believed that, in the end, he sought to vindicate his actions through death. That's a wrap on Konrad Curze's tragic post-heresy tale. If you found his journey as captivating as I did, remember to like, share and subscribe. And join us over on Discord, where lore lovers unite to discuss all things Warhammer and more. Let's keep this cozy community alive and thriving.